Hey everybody, welcome to Artist Talk. Today we are here with painter Jill Lefkowtiz, and she is going to be chatting with our esteemed panel curator Juliana Forero and our cultural programming manager Jody Leshinsky. Welcome everybody.
Hi.
Hey, great to see you all today. So we have been having a conversation about the exhibition From the Inside, which basically paired poems that were written by prisoners and they were given to local artists, and then they just did all this creative, imaginative work that came out of it. So Juliana, when you were curating this, what was it about Jill's work that resonated with you that said, she's going to be a great selection for this exhibition?
Okay, hi Kay, hi everybody. Well, with Jill is very interesting because I met her at a gallery opening. She was one of the first artists that I met when I came back to South Florida, and we really hit it all. And we worked together before on an exhibition at Bailey Contemporary Arts, Abstract, I believe it was the fall of 2018. So when I was reviewing the poems, I knew that I wanted to invite her to be part of the exhibition because our relationship was really great during the previous exhibition, and communication was great, and I really fell in love with her visual aesthetic. So I reached out to her, sent her a couple of poems, and she selected one that its title means so much. So Jill, why don't you share with us why did that poem mean so much to you, and what was your process of creating the artwork that is in the exhibition?
So the two paintings that are in the show, Blind Assembly and Blind Observer, I had already painted them, but they resonated with that particular poem because the entire poem is about this particular gentleman who wrote it. He missed out on the entire time that I don't know what the gender of his child is, but basically he never got to experience what it was like to have a baby. And so my two paintings that I created are very much about fertility symbols. They're very much about women. And if you look closely at the two paintings, there are a lot of female symbolism. There's breasts in there, and there's so much going on, which as an artist, I can explain it further. Like somebody might look at the painting, and of course, that's what I really appreciate as an artist, with other people's observances of my own work. And so that's why I chose those two paintings in particular, because they really resonated with this particular poem.
So Jody, I know you were really intrigued by her presentation, not only for this, but our other presentations that we did at Bailey. And I know you had some questions for her.
I do. Your work has a very, very distinctive look, and you have bold color choices. How did your style evolve? What was that process like?
I started painting and drawing very early when I was a kid, and my parents nurtured me. They bought me painting supplies continuously, and my uncle, who was a sculptor, and he actually had his work at the Whitney Museum, he was my mentor. So I always saw sculpture and painting to be sort of very similar, and we both also had a very similar aesthetic, which we both love ancient work from different cultures. And when I say ancient, I am talking about tribal work. I am talking about work that's from countries from all over the world, from different continents. And if you look at countries in Africa, there's a similarity in the tribes and how they represented females and males. In South America, you can look in Brazil at the different tribes. You can go into Mexico. So what my work does is it's sort of a representation of all different cultures sort of blended together. And my uncle pretty much did that as well within his sculptures. But I love color. He sculpted out of wood. So my fascination with color has always been, wow, when you're a kid and you're experimenting and, oh my God, yellow and blue make green. And, and then looking outside because I grew up partly in New York and partly in Florida. But when I came to Florida, it was almost like, in The Wizard of Oz, when, it goes from black and white to color. It was kind of like that for me, because with New York, half the time it's kind of gray and dark with the winter. And then in Florida, it's just always green, and it's always bright, and it's always beautiful. So, and that is so important to me as a person, is color. And so these figures that come to me, that I then spontaneously paint onto the canvas, they need color. They ask for color. They tell me to create some sort of color, and it happens spontaneously as well, the choice of color. But it's something that I need, and something that I need to represent on either the canvas or the guitar or the barrel, whatever it is that I'm working on. But the one good thing is that I can work, when I have commissions, I do work with the client on color. And I can specifically say, hey, well, what colors do you want to use? What works with you? And then we work together, and it becomes more of a team effort for the painting or whatever it is that they want me to create for them.
Jill, that's really interesting. And also, obviously part of this exhibition, we're called From the Inside. And during the time period, we've been spending a lot more time inside. And that's been kind of like inspiring you in a little bit of a creative direction using charcoal. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, so I used to draw in charcoal all the time growing up. And even when I went to school, I studied painting at NYU. I would, in between my studio work where I had to create specific paintings for a class, I would just do small charcoal drawings. And the thing about charcoal drawings is, especially because you can get charcoal that has color, charcoal doesn't have to be just black and white. The blending and everything that goes along with using charcoal really works with me, because it gives me another direction to go in other than just using acrylics. And at one time I was using oil, but I'm a very impatient person and I don't like to wait for it to dry. So I ended up going back to using acrylics. And then I also was using, at one point, I'm going to go back to that again, the oil pastels, which I also love because of the blendability. And the blendability really gives you that highlight and shadow that I want within the piece, because I'm always looking to create sculpture within my paintings or anything else that I'm doing. That's the most important part, and that's why I outline in black, to make it look sculptural. So I want that three-dimensionality, and the charcoal gives that to me sometimes in more ways than the acrylic does.
Well, that's interesting. So Juliana, Jody, do you have any other questions that you want to ask, that diving off of these comments that Jill has been making?
We had one question, something that sparked, you started to talk about clients, and have you ever worked with other artists to collaborate? Because you mentioned the word collaboration, and it just interests me, because most artists work in silos, but sometimes artists work in collaborations.
And I am actually going to be doing another collaboration, hopefully at some point in the coming months. I'm, hoping when we can all get out of quarantine, with Lori Arbel, who's another artist, that we are hoping to create a beautiful piece for a Holocaust project that she's working on.
We know you have your collaboration coming up with Lori. Anything else on the horizon that you want to share with us?
Yes, absolutely. So my husband and I, two collaborations other than Lori's. My husband fabioarber, he's an artist and also a film producer for film and TV. He and I are collaborating, where what he does is he's a digital artist. So he's been taking my work that I produce, and then digitally he takes it and he retransforms it into a completely new piece. So we're very excited about it. It's something that we've been working on for quite some time. And we're going to be turning that into hopefully a show at some point. That's our main goal. So that's one collaboration. And then I was just literally asked, I was just literally asked to be in a wonderful project by Hannah Beaton. And it's called the Quarantine Art Project. And what it is there's going to be, I think it's 10 of us, because it spells out the word quarantine. And what we're going to do is we're going to auction off our pieces, where part of it goes to help anyone who's lost someone from COVID, the COVID-19. So this is our way of doing a shout out and trying to help. And my part is called Everything is Going to Be Okay, but it's sort of a question mark and also an exclamation point, because we're all sort of feeling the same way right now, where we're wondering, we're trying to be positive, and it's great, but at the same time we all have a lot of anxiety and stress, and we're in an unsettled time right now. So this project is over the next 2 months, we all have to produce a piece. And I'm very honored to be a part of this, to help out. And I'm very excited about it. And it'll be an online auction, and that'll be coming up.
Well, we thank you for taking time and spending it with us to talk with us today. And we look forward to seeing you hopefully again at Bailey Contemporary Arts. And we hope everybody joins us for our next art talk coming up soon.
Thank you so
then.
much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.